thank you everyone for joining us for our Meet the Firm series Asset Management, Equities and Fixed Income event today. I'm Paige, the Programmes Manager at Gain, and I'm joined by Brooke, our Programmes Coordinator at Gain, and we are so happy to have you all here. We've got six wonderful firms on this call, all who operate within the asset management space, and they're going to tell you about who they are, what they do, and the kind of internships that they offer. And those six firms are Amova Asset Management, Franklin Templeton, Mercer Investments, Point72, Skerryville Asset Management, and Walter Scott. I want to give you as much time as possible to hear from the firms themselves about what they do, but I'm just going to run through a few very quick pieces of housekeeping. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded and will be added to YouTube very shortly, so you can come back and rewatch it if you wish. I'm sure you all already know, but applications to the Gain and Power Investment Internship Programme are already open, and we are seeing some wonderful applications so far. So you have until the 26th of October to get your application in, and Brooke and I look forward to reading them. We do advise you take your time on your application to make sure you submit something you're proud of and you feel is reflective of yourself. We need you to demonstrate your interest in investment management in particular and tell us what excites you about joining the GAIN programme as well. As part of that application form, we've introduced a video question for the first year. And there is a file size limit on the website where you submit your application, which is 30 meg. So make sure your video fits into that. We've got a kind of 2-minute time limit. If it doesn't fit, just upload a Word document with a link. A lot of students are uploading them on Google Drive. If you make that link accessible to all, we'll be able to access it and firms will be able to access it. And finally, this is your opportunity to ask our firms any questions you have about their internship opportunities. This is your chance to take charge of your career and get a head start on knowing what the industry is about before submitting your application. But today's session is not about asking questions regarding the GAIN programme itself. So please keep your questions focused on the firms and the opportunities they're telling about. And if you have any programme related questions, you can send them to programs@gainuk.org and me, Brooke, or another member of our team will get back to you. We will have a Q&A with the firms right at the end, so feel free to pop your messages in the chat or in the Q&A and we'll have some time to get through those at the end. And with that, we're going to kick off with the main event, and I'm going to hand over to our first firm. I'm going to hand over to Holger Mertens. Could you introduce yourself, your role, and then tell us all about Amova Asset Management, please?
Will do. Thank you very much for having me on the panel today. So yeah, my name is Holger Mertens. I work as a senior portfolio manager and head of global credit for Amova Asset Management. We are a global asset management firm. We are headquartered in Tokyo. We run across different strategies, 260 billion of assets in dollar. So we invest in fixed income, equity, multi-asset, also different regions, developed market as well as emerging markets. So we have three main investment platforms, one in Tokyo and the other in Singapore. But for developed markets, our main investment hub is the UK. The equity team is based in Edinburgh, and the fixed income team is based here in London. So my team actually had the first intern from Girls as Investors here at Nico this summer, and so I think I can give a good update on how this was going. So it was a great experience for us, and I hope also for the intern. So I mean, what we do is usually we would assign an intern to one of our investment teams. So my team was actually the first one having someone joining, and usually an internship starts with getting assigned to a senior portfolio manager or senior analyst, which then will mentor you through the programs through the 6 weeks you're spending with us, and so you should get in good insight about what it means to be a PM or analyst or a trader. But also you will get a special project assigned to you. So the intern we had over the summer, she had already quite proliferated skills in programming, and this was great, making a good contribution with creating a tool for one of our portfolio managers. So it's a bit of both. So on one hand, you want to learn, but it's also great if you can during your tenure here make some contribution to the team. And yeah, so this is basically what you would expect here if you're joining us. So in terms of what people we are looking for, not only for interns, also when we hire graduate, I mean, like, we're looking for people which are curious, which are interested in investing, which like to research and dig deep on certain topics. Also, a good understanding about math is good. And as I said earlier, like if you have some programming skills, this is definitely a plus. In an investment environment. And I think, yeah, if you would apply, I mean, hopefully we are able to give you a good insight about the work of an portfolio manager, analyst, or trader, and hopefully this would give you some guidance about future career choices. And yeah, hopefully see you next summer around.
That was wonderful. Thank you. And next up, we're going to hear from Faye and Ashanti about Franklin Templeton.
Thanks, Paige. Just checking you can see those slides okay? Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks very much for inviting us here. Lovely to be part of today's session. My name's Faye Bowden. I work at Franklin Templeton, and we've also got Ashanti, who will introduce herself in a moment, was a prior intern and actually part of Gain. So it'll be nice for you to hear from her. But Franklin Templeton, I'm based in Edinburgh, but we also have interns in London. But we are one of the largest independent asset managers globally. We have over 7 decades of experience within the industry across both public and private markets. Franklin Templeton, as you can see on this slide, are kind of like the umbrella company, but we in 2020 July had one of our largest acquisitions when we took over Legg Mason. So we also acquired a number of independent specialist firms, which allows us to have specialization across all the asset classes. So we have some brand names there as well, just so you're aware of everything that's covered within Franklin Templeton. So if you were to intern with us, you would have the opportunity to work across our different asset classes. We have over 9,700 employees working globally with over 80 different offices or representation across 80 different countries. This is our Edinburgh office. We're very lucky that our offices were renovated during COVID, so it really is a beautiful space to work. And I've just listed the investment focused departments that we have here, but we are very lucky in Edinburgh to have representation across both investment and non-investment teams, with over 200 employees. Um, and we also have our London office, where we'll have interns in both Edinburgh and London. And our London office, just so nobody's feeling left out, has also been renovated recently. So it is a really nice space as well. We have more of our fixed income team in London and more of our equity teams in Edinburgh. So a summer internship with us is when we generally have between 7 to 10 students across Edinburgh and London for 10 weeks, starting in June, normally early June through to August. Usually students in their penultimate year and from any discipline. And we have a 3-stage interview process. So it shouldn't be too intimidating. And I noticed you spoke about videos, Paige. We do introduce a video session as well as part of the second stage. So that will give you some experience already. And our 10-week plan basically involves business insight sessions as a 1 week induction. And then you have department projects. And that can be either a specific project or work as usual, but there is generally something to report back on and deliver within those 10 weeks. We also build in, for those that aren't doing an investment focused rotation, an opportunity to get some experience in another team as well. So we have a marketing exercise as well as an investment exercise. And on top of that, we had Bloomberg. We had a Bloomberg visit this year and Investment 2020 event. And there's numerous socials and charity events that we actually ask our interns to get involved in as well. And before I hand over to Ashanti, these are just some of the participating departments that we have across Edinburgh. These are and London, and these are the investment focused teams that generally every year put up their hand to have an intern. So hopefully that gives you an indication of the different teams that often host an intern. But we also have non-investment teams as well. So if anybody is interested in something that's more sales based or other teams or digital, we also have teams there as well. So I'm conscious of time, so I'll hand over to Shanti just so she can share a little bit about what it was like to be an intern at Franklin Templeton.
Hello, so my name is Ashanti Magoma. I was again intern last year at FT, and now I'm on their graduate program as a Futures Associate in the Edinburgh office. So last year I was in the investment solutions team working in multi-asset. So that's not just equity or just fixed income, but all of these different asset classes in the one set of funds. So it was really exciting. I was working on data visualization and presentation. And it really developed my analytical skills, doing a bit of programming since I have an engineering background, but also learning about what the key metrics are that portfolio managers are looking for when we're talking about fund analysis and making sure that we're getting the most out of our fund and their performance. So not only did I work within my department, like Faye says, I took part in the different internship exercises in marketing and distribution, as well as investment. And I think gaining this really broad experience across the different parts of the business gave me such a solid foundation into understanding not just what you do in investments, but just how the asset management industry works as a whole. And it made me really be able to identify interests that I didn't know I had before, and stuff that you wouldn't traditionally think about when we talk about investments and working in investments. And apart from that, I can really attest to the fact that FT is such a global company. Even in the Edinburgh office, there's so many different teams across equity, like Faye said, fixed income in London, and they have colleagues worldwide. So through talking to people just on your floor, you're really being able to make those future connections and learn about things that you didn't know about before. For example, AI and alternatives and global distribution too, which was really valuable. And this really set me forward for not having much experience to then wanting to go forward and take asset management and investments as a career path, and being able to know what I didn't like, what I did like, and having that holistic understanding really set me apart, and made me feel confident during the application process. And now that I'm a futures associate, it's really allowed me to just, hit the ground running and just continue on those interests that I have and continue to work in FTIS as well. So good luck to everybody and thank you.
Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Ashanti. Really nice to hear from you, Ashanti. Welcome back. Again, intern on the rise. And with that, I'm going to pass to Daniel from Mercer.
Thank you. Share my screen. Let me know if you can see that. Perfect. So I guess we're slightly different to the other participants on the call here. We are not an asset manager in the traditional sense. We're more of an asset owner in the pension side of things. And again, slightly differentiated to the other participants is we are new to the GAIN program, which we are very excited to be part of. But what I thought I might do as a result of that is give just a very high-level introduction on who Mercer is, because this is the first time we've been participating in this, and this is probably the first time you may have heard about Mercer. So who are we? We are a global organization, like many of the other participants on this call, and we operate our investment solutions platform in over 40 different countries, New Zealand, Australia, US, Canada, London, Middle East, Hong Kong, etc., etc. With that is a large a large colleague base as well. So you can see there over 25,000 different colleagues worldwide. We manage a fair amount of money on behalf of our clients, so over 650 billion in assets across all the different asset classes, which we can get into. And we've been doing this for a long time. Even though we're new to the game program, we've been operating for over 50 years in the investment solutions business as well. So we have been doing this for a while. We do manage quite a lot of money on behalf of our clients. And we do have a global presence as well, which is quite interesting and exciting when you're talking to different colleagues across the world and getting different perspectives. So what is Mercer in the sense of, as I said, an asset owner and what the investment solution platform delivers? So you can see here on the slide, so Mercer has traditionally been more in this tools and advice program. And what that is we have a load of internal tools which we sell on to our clients who then can use that as part of their portfolio construction process. So this is very much a do-it-yourself based approach. We have a big consulting business where we advise clients on how to allocate their money into their pension platform. And this is very much the help me do it space. But the focus of our internship program and our investment solutions business is on this help me do it box here, which you can see in pink, which is where that 650 billion plus assets is. And this is where we build multi-manager portfolios made up of managers like you've heard from the call today and are going to hear from the call today into different portfolios to use for their pension businesses. This involves meeting very talented investors like some of the ones on the call today, assessing their capabilities, using our various tools from that first box to see how they blend together to create different types of portfolios and ultimately deliver a robust total portfolio to our end clients that can help grow their assets for their pensions into the future as well. So that's kind of who we are as a business. You can see on the far right there, the portfolio construction, risk management, manager selection, and monitoring. These are kind of things that we would do as a portfolio management team in the investment solutions on a day-to-day basis. For an intern, and as you can see in the writing down the bottom here, an eventual graduate, what that means is you'll get exposure to all of these different types of teams within our investment solutions platform. From manager research, where you're meeting different managers on a regular basis, equity, fixed income, sustainability, portfolio management in the traditional sense for equity and fixed income, private markets businesses, multi-asset macroeconomic research, client-facing investment directors, hedge funds, real assets. Like there's a huge amount of different teams that you can get involved in as part of the 8-week internship program, which is very exciting to get to be a part of. At the end of that 8-week program, what that does mean is you'll be fast-tracked. The successful internship candidates will be fast-tracked into our 3-year graduate rotation program. So whilst you would come in as an intern for the 8-week program focused in one of these teams, at the end of that, if you're successful, the 3-year program will give you exposure to many, many different types of these teams over that 3-year rotation program. And what I want to stress is, as well as part of that 8-week program, we're all in the one location. We're all in here in London, and there's a couple of periphery offices globally. So you will get regular exposure to all the different teams. You'll hear them talking on desk. You'll hear them in different meetings. You'll be able to absorb all the information that they'll be able to give you in that 8-week period as well. So I guess finally, why Mercer? And I started at Mercer as an intern myself over 11 years ago now, as you can probably tell from my accent, in Australia. I think one of the great things that Mercer gives you is exposure. Unlike anywhere else in the industry, we get access to some of the most talented investors in the industry. I still remember the first time I was an intern. The first day I had was meeting a co-founder of one of the largest hedge funds during the Eurozone economic crisis, which is it's just something you wouldn't get exposure to in some other areas of the industry. The second one is opportunity. As we sort of just been through, you get various different types of exposure as part of the internship program across all the different platform, all the different teams within the investments platform. But you also, myself included, have the opportunity to do rotations. So I started an Australian business and I moved to our London business 3 years ago, and there's many different examples of that across the world as well. And finally, culture. And everybody always says their culture is the best at all their firms, but I genuinely believe Mercer has one of the best cultures in the industry. I've been here for over 11 years, but many of the colleagues I work with have been here 20, 30, 35 years. So I am a baby in terms of the Mercer business. So people do stay here for a very long time, and there's a reason they stay here for a very long time, because it's honestly a very good place to work. So hopefully that gives you a overview and an introduction to who Mercer is, and very much looking forward to being part of these programs for the foreseeable future.
Thanks, Daniel. What an incredibly long tenure at Mercer you've had. Well, it sounds long to me anyway. Thank you. I am going to pass over to Alice at point 72.
No, thank you. I'm Alice Owen. I run the Analyst Development Programme for Point 72 in London with Agave, who is also on the call. Just in terms of Point 72, we're a hedge fund headquartered in the US. Total, we have about 3,000 people globally. So that's US, APAC, and EMEA as well. In London, there's about 300 people. We also have offices in Dubai, Paris, Milan, and then Warsaw, which is more tech and back office. And then just in terms of London, so I said there's 300 people here, split across different parts of the business. So we have long-short equities investing, systematic investing, so that's Cubist, the quant business, global macro, and then we also have venture capital and private credit as part of the Point 72 umbrella. In terms of the internship that I work for, it's the long-short equities investing. And so we're super excited to be working with GAIN. We haven't hosted a GAIN intern before, but we're very excited to have this opportunity to do so. We're very used to having interns though. Talent development is a really big focus for us here. We spend a lot of time and effort trying to develop our portfolio managers internally as part of the ongoing analyst development program. And the internship is a really important source for us for that. So just in terms of how that's structured, you would start, the total is 8 weeks. You start spending the first week with the academy team, and they will teach you the sort of basic analyst skills, modeling. You might have a project to look at a company over the first week, and then we send you to work with a portfolio manager team for 5 weeks, and they would set you work to do that would be kind of mirroring the typical work that an analyst would be doing day to day. All of the analysts that you would be working with would be sector specialists. So they're super passionate about the companies that they spend every day looking at. One thing that I think they would all share, and I think it's helpful for you to sort of understand this up front, is that a real passion for understanding businesses is quite helpful. If you want to understand how things work, problem solve, pick apart businesses, that's really helpful, and you can spend a lot of time doing that here. And then at the end of the program, you would spend 2 weeks doing a project that the academy would set you, and if you're successful in that project, there's an opportunity to then go to the academy and have a place as part of the academy graduate program. Just in terms of things that we offer, there's just so much here for the interns. There's so many people for you to meet, all of the other analysts who cover different sectors to you. There's a huge amount of tools and resources for the interns. Yeah, I think it's something that we're very proud of, and I hope you will enjoy it when you're here.
I'm sure they will. It sounds like a great opportunity you're offering. I'd like to move to Stephen from Scaryville Asset Management next, please.
Great, thank you. 1 second. Great, hopefully you can all see my slides. So this is Scaryville is perhaps slightly different in scale to the presenters that have gone before me. We are a relatively small firm. We were started back in 2019, and we are based in Edinburgh and very focused on emerging markets. So we run money we effectively run only equities and only in emerging markets. So we're very focused in what we do. We have 17 employees, so we are a relatively nimble business, but we're global. We have clients from everywhere from Australia to Canada. So despite the fact we're a small business, we really do have very much a global business and speak to people from all around the world every day. Our philosophy is one that's a little distinctive. We're very long term. We focus on owning the best quality companies that we can find in emerging markets, and running portfolios on behalf of our clients. This is our 4th year involved with Gain. We're very proud to be associated with Gain, and it's a wonderful program. Now, the way Skerryvore works, because we're a small company, we can't necessarily offer all the interns roles at the end, but our goal, which I'll come back to in a minute, but our goal is really about helping you find a place in the industry. That's what we're very passionate about, is helping women find a place in the investment industry. This is the team that you'd be working with. So we're 6 investors on the investment team, with our head of dealing, a guy called Ben Lawson, and Ian, who's our head of clients, who also works in portfolio management. The culture in the team, which is very important to us, and one of the reasons that we founded the firm, is we wanted a culture that was very flat and very open. And so being part of the team here means that you very much are sitting at the same table with everybody, and opinions from everybody are very welcome. It's a really big part of who we are. In terms of the process that we run, we try and keep it relatively simple. So we do run 2 rounds. So what we try and do is screen in the first round interview. So that's done over Zoom, and it's usually with myself. And so we then screen down to 4 people in the second round. And the second round we try and host in our office. And there you'll meet effectively all of the investment team and take part in a case study. And then we make a final decision with the internship program then runs in May or June, depending on when everybody finishes their exams. But we try and do it just after your exams finish, and we run for 6 weeks. And you can see there, last year, we normally take 2 candidates, but last year the candidates were so good that we decided we'd take 3. And so you can see Moa, Taylor, and Izzy there from last year, and that was a wonderful experience working with the 3 of them. So how does the program work? This diagram is unnecessarily probably complicated, but just to show that there's some structure around what we do. So our goal, I mentioned earlier on, but really we've 2 goals. The first is to make sure that this is an industry that you would enjoy spending your career in. So we try and expose you to all parts of the investment business. The advantage with being small is that you get to see how the entire business works, everything from operations to risk to the investment team. And then we run a structured program within that 6 weeks. Now, our investment philosophy focuses around 4 pillars of quality, and also on valuation. And so what we do is we cover each of those quality topics in a week, and you'll spend that week with a different investor from the team, and they will basically take you through that section. And what you do is you go along, and we've done this every year that we've done the program, you'll be given a company at the start of your internship, and you work on that company. So you do, as you work through each of these modules, you actually work through completing each one of these sections. So for example, the first week is focused all about people. So the people running the business and their motivations and their incentives, et cetera, et cetera. And we work through each of those. And then at the end of the internship, you will have a completed company report, which is your own piece of work that you're able to take with you and show to others should you choose. And you also then present to the team. So it's a good experience. It takes you through the whole life cycle of actually the work that we do on a day-to-day basis. And while that's ongoing, as I said, we introduce you to the rest of the business. You'll also attend all the weekly investment meetings that we have, and so you'll be invited to participate in those. And also, we would bring you into company meetings. So if we have actual companies coming through, you would come and sit in on those and see how those actually operate as well. So it's a great way of immersing yourself really fully in the business. And like I said, our goal is at the end of the 6 weeks to have trained you so that you have a good understanding of how the investment process works, and to put you in a really strong position, as you start to try and find a role within the investment industry. And the last thing that we've done with all our candidates over the last number of years is offered mentorship. So, if you want to stay in touch with us and you want us to help you practice for interviews, or you want us to review applications, we've done all that with candidates who've asked us to do that for them. So that would be Skerryvore.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks.
And then last but certainly not least, I'd like to pass to Richard and Lindsay to discuss Walter Scott. Lovely. We've got your slides up, but we can't hear you.
Is that better? Hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, and you can see the slides. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Richard Barry. I'm the Head of Executive Initiatives, and I'm joined by Lindsay Scott, who is one of our investment managers. What we like to do is to tell you a little bit about Walter Scott. So I'm going to cover a little bit around the overview of the company, who we are and what we do, and Lindsay's going to talk about our internships here. So actually, we're just across the road from a few of people who are sitting around. I think Stephen's probably in a stone throw from us. So we're based in Edinburgh as well. I suppose in a bracket size, we're smallish compared to many of the companies you're going to be hearing from this afternoon. We have internships only, but many of our interns over the years have joined us on a permanent basis. So let me just quickly tell you a bit about Walter Scott. So we are a bespoke equity portfolio manager. We manage equities only, and our sole focus is on equities and has been since inception. We're based here in Edinburgh in Charlotte Square, which, as I say, is about 20 yards from Skerryvore's office. So it's a nice big Georgian square in the middle of the city. So our main operation is here in Edinburgh, but we also have a small office in Boston as well. Most of our clients are in North America, so it makes sense for us to do a lot of client service and our business development in Boston as well. So there's about 9 colleagues there, and occasionally they come over and sometimes meet the interns as well. A little bit of history. We were founded in 1983, and we were bought over by what was called BNY Mellon at the time, now just called BNY, back in 2007. Currently, we're managing 78 billion worth of dollar of assets, and we have 274 client relationships, and that is spread right across the world, so across 17 countries. What we try to do is keep our clients for as long as we can, and Lindsay and I were debating longevity of clients. So certainly in excess of 10 years is the sort of time scale that we see our clients staying with us, which tells you a lot about what we're trying to do, which is to try and grow those client assets over the long term. So we look to invest in companies with a strong cash flow, and those companies invest that cash flow back into those businesses. That means that they're good companies over the long term and will grow over the long term. So we look to hold those for at least 5 and 10 years. So you can see that from when people come here, there's a lot of in-depth research and picking companies to invest in. There's a long process, but an enriching process. So that's all I wanted to cover just now. I'm going to pass you over to Lindsay.
Hi, yes. So I've been at Walter Scott for 20 years. And when you work in the research team here, we are what we call global generalists, which is a really big job because essentially you could be looking at a company anywhere in the world in any sector. And it takes a long time to get that expertise. So when you come to participate in our internship program, you will be embedded directly in the research team, which is a team of 18 individuals who look at investments or look at potential investments across the world in all different sectors. We do very much bottom-up research. So if you were in the program, you would be expected to help the 18 of us do this research. So the day-to-day job of just keeping on top of the companies that we invest in, whether it's news flow or from the company or related political movements or economic movements or what their peers are doing or their competitors. We'd also ask you to help the research team look at new ideas, so new investments, and we'd expect you to do one yourself. So to go through our whole philosophy and process, which involves some spreadsheet work, so kind of quantitative analysis, but also the qualitative side of things. So really trying to get to grips with the industry. And we would endeavour to set up a meeting or two for you with the company that you're looking at, if that was possible, or with some experts in the field. And during that journey, you would be supported by mentors across the 6 weeks. But you would also engage with the whole team. We would also try to get you into as many meetings as we could that you were interested in across the business. This year we had interns in with clients, and we had them in with subject experts who we had in, and we had them in various training programs that we had on. I think one of the best things about the internship at Walter Scott is because we're a small business, you really have exposure to pretty much everything that's going on, including our MD, who sits with their door open as you walk in every morning, and she interacts with everybody. And yeah, so you really get to grips with what exactly we do day to day. The company that you would choose would be up to you. So you could pick and choose any business to put through our process, and we would support you in that. There's been a few people in here from Edinburgh, so I will just quickly put in a plug for Edinburgh. It's a great city and it's a great place to be in the summer. Can't promise the sunshine, but can promise a lot of fun in the city. Both of the companies, I'm sure the others will put on events, etc. But it's the Fringe Festival is on during the month of August, and the city's a really fun place to be. So yeah, I could highly recommend looking at some of the Scottish locations.
That's great. Thank you so much. And I wonder if this is a good time for a little Scotland plug. Most of our internships are in London, and I think all of our Edinburgh host firms are on this call. So Lindsay's just spoken about the Fringe Festival, which is something on my bucket list to go and visit. But I wonder if Holger, Stephen, Faye, or Shanti want to give another note about the benefits of applying for an internship in Edinburgh, maybe over London.
I mean, I'm happy to. Although I should point out I'm based in London, so
Yeah.
I don't want any false representation here. No, but it's a wonderful city and a great place to spend if it's not somewhere that you live normally. It's a fabulous place to spend the summer. Obviously, weather can't be guaranteed, but the whole city is walkable, and it's a fabulous place to explore Scotland from if you take some time to do that as well. I'd really recommend it. I mean, I lived up there for 3 years and only very unwillingly left, so it's a fabulous city.
Nice. Any
Yeah,
other
I'm
tips?
also based in London, but as I said, we have a team in Edinburgh. It's an equity team, and yeah, it's great working with them, and like the team is growing over there. So and depending a bit on what asset class you want to go for, so if it's more fixed income, then it will be London, and but also you're looking into equity, I think Edinburgh is a great place.
I
We
guess
had a
I can, sorry.
no, go for it.
I said
Go
I
for it.
guess I
Thank you.
can share as a past intern. It was great to spend the summer in Edinburgh. I am Scottish, but I'm from Glasgow, so it was a different city experience. Um, and yeah, just being able to, finish your work, go around the city, catch up with the people that you're working with afterwards as well. Such a great atmosphere, especially during the Fringe, but even before then, the summer was really great to spend in the city. Yeah.
We had a student that was actually from Leeds, and he went camping and he climbed Ben Nevis, and he really enjoyed the outdoors while he was here as well. So if you're not into festivals, there's always lots of other things to get involved in.
Well, that's great. It's lovely to hear. Um, Intern applicants do only apply for locations you're willing to rent in or relocate to. For the summer, Gain does have a bursary which you can explore. Looking at that. But yeah, thank you. I just wanted to give Edinburgh a little shout out there. We are going to open the Q&A now. So I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask to begin with. But students, please pop your questions in the chat or the Q&A and we'll get to those as well. I have really enjoyed hearing about your interview processes from some of the firms, but I was wondering if the few firms that haven't spoken about their assessment process, if you're happy to share what that looks like, I'd love to hear from you. Perhaps Holger at Amova.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like we had a pre-screening based on the CVs we got, and then we just had one round of interviews, and then afterwards we made offers to the applicants we liked the most during the interview process.
Excellent. I do remember you being very quick last year, so that's great. Alice, do you want to share about your application
I'm
process?
going to do it.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah. So, my name is Agabe. I've been working for Alice for the last 2 years. So, our application process will be in line with the academy program. So, it's all on our website, but it's a little bit longer than the average of everyone who has been here. So, we obviously are going to screen the CVs, but then we're going to send you a case study so you can work on it for 1 week. Then after that, we will do an interview with a recruiter, then a case study debrief, and then you will meet someone from management, and then one investment professional who is currently doing the job and who has gone through the same like internship experience, so you can have someone to ask questions to.
Excellent. Thank you. And then Richard and Lindsay, did you have anything to say about your assessment process?
Yeah, ours is it actually sounds very similar to many of the other companies here. But again, send us the CVs, which we review. We sometimes have short video calls, and then we have assessment centres in January. And we set the dates for those, and we put those on our website so everybody knows how to prepare and make sure they're able to get here. We hold those in our office.
Wonderful, thank you. And there are lots of resources on Gain's website as well once you're informed about what your interview process will look like. And we will also be scheduling interview skills webinars for anyone that is successfully screened and put forward to a firm. So no excuse not to be prepared when you come to interview. So
I don't think I gave an overview of ours as well. Sorry, Paige. Ours is quite similar to what Richard just said there. We have an assessment centre in late January, early February, where it will be a one-off assessment centre post, sort of the standard CV screening. But as I sort of mentioned on the call, the internship is really the assessment itself, where we'll offer you a grad role at the end of that internship program. So it's kind of a two-stage process for Mercer.
Thank you, Daniel. And Daniel, I might actually stick with you for this next question because you said how much you enjoy the culture at Mercer. Are there opportunities for the students your interns to network with each other, different teams, senior staff? What can you do to ensure that interns feel included during the internship?
Absolutely. All of the above are very much part of the program. So we have not only the investment solutions platform interns, which there are, don't quote me on these numbers, but about 8 across all the different teams that I showed up on my slide. But we also have our internship program across our investment consulting business, and we have an internship program across our 4 sister companies in the insurance space. All the interns have functions independently as a broad internship program, but then for the investment solutions platform, our senior portfolio managers, such as some of the ones in my team, but across all the business teams that I showed on the screen, are always available for conversation. We just wrapped up our last summer internship program, and I think every single one of them met or had a coffee with for 30 minutes or so with all the senior people within the business. And we run functions for meet and greets and those kind of things, like a summer boat party and those for all the interns.
Excellent. Does anyone else want to chime in? I know some of you have covered this in your firm overviews.
I'm happy to go ahead and say that when you join the firm, we will assign you a mentor. So that will be a person who has gone through the academy, who is going to work in a different team that you're currently going to work for. That person will be meeting you like quite regularly, but then as well, we will have some internal, let's call it like gatherings, and you will meet the people from the different strategies that we have. Sometimes like interns like to reach out to people directly, which is like fine with us. But then if you don't feel like very open about it and you need some help, I'm always the person that they reach out to, and then I will connect them with the people that they want to speak to, or if they don't know who they want to speak them, I have a very good list that you can go through.
I would maybe just add one thing that we do slightly differently that I wanted to emphasize at Walter Scott. So instead of having one mentor, we kind of have a revolving mentor. So each week you would have a different investment manager who would be looking after the 4 to 6 people who would be within the research team. So you get exposure to lots of different people over your 6 weeks.
Interesting. Thank you. Anyone else? Or we can move on to some of the other questions.
I think we just do very similar, but the full 1 week induction that we introduced, I think having that week where you meet a lot of the teams and a lot of the individuals and a chance to kind of work together and get to know each other as a cohort kind of really sets everyone up for success, because they're familiar faces at the end of that week and have a bit more confidence to reach out to those teams. And along with their mentor, which they actually meet prior to starting the internship, I think building that relationship and having again that friendly face before they join also really helps.
Yes, as I said earlier, with us also you will have a mentor, and then also it's the mentor's responsibility to show you around, to introduce you to different teams. So we are not that huge office, so we have 70 people in London. So it's at least you will have seen some faces, and also we got a summer party, so it's a great time to be around. So then you also in a more casual atmosphere meet other people from the office.
Yeah, just to say, I mean, what we've done is we've organized in the past a dinner prior to the internship. So about halfway usually between the decision and the internship, to actually get to know the interns a little bit better. And then you get a chance to meet some of the people that you'll be working with. But in such a small firm, you will know everybody by the end of it.
That's great, thank you. And yeah, very different across the sizes, or actually quite similar, I suppose, across the different sizes of your organisations. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to move to the questions in the chat, and we'll start with Letitia's. So it has been touched upon a little already, but it would be great to hear a little bit about what makes a successful intern during the application process and the internship itself. So let's look at the application process first, since we're on the cusp of applications being submitted. Would anyone like to kick us off with that?
Yeah, so I think what's really important is to read exactly what we are asking for. our intern program is already open, and we have had multiple applications who haven't fulfilled what we've asked for. So read in detail and make sure you're answering the questions, make sure you're submitting the right information, and be specific. And we don't like generic applications. So yeah, that would be my piece of advice in terms of a successful application.
And it comes through to when interns are here, that diligence, that ability to make sure you deliver what's asked. It is going to be demanding, but it's also very fulfilling. It's fun as well. You don't work all the hours that God gave you. You get a lot of time to have some good downtime and enjoy the place and the time here. But having initiative and being able to get around people, talk to them, find out lots. So that learning is really key. People who enjoy that learning and applying it is certainly something that makes people stand out and be successful.
Perfect. I could not agree more.
I think for us, it's not necessarily a kind of magic formula, and I wouldn't say that there's a particular set of credentials or maybe skills that you absolutely have to have. I think, though, if I look at people who've been successful here, both as part of the internship, the academy, as analysts, PMs, they are all super driven. They love learning. They're very curious and keep asking questions and trying to figure stuff out. And they're very passionate about businesses and trying to understand them and then placing them within the context of the broader market. So if any of those things resonate, then they will be very helpful to you.
Great, thank you, Alex.
As I said earlier, yeah, I mean, like we looking for some common ground during the interview process and also in the later on during the internship, like having someone who has some programming skills can help one of the investment professionals to create a tool. It's just a nice, like if someone left and still something is there and you're using it, so this is always kind of a positive message you left behind. So I mean, but there could be different things where we find some common ground, and this is what we search for during the interviews.
Thank you.
From our perspective, the things that we don't care about, maybe to start with, is your degree, what you're actually studying, because I think we've seen over time that good investors can come from any background, but they all show some interest in the world and in companies in particular. So we love people that are curious. We love people that show some kind of interest in investing. I mean, even if you don't have a huge amount of knowledge, just the fact that you're doing something to show that you have an interest is great. We love people that self-start. You need to show that you have initiative, and we like people that work as part of a team. We're not a star culture. We never have been, and we like people that contribute to the team rather than try and work for themselves. And on the program itself, it's the people that ask questions, that participate in the discussions, that show that this is something that they really care about, that they're the people that really stand out.
Great, thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone else unmuting themselves, so I'm going to move on to our next question. So Daniel, this is for you. What are some of the biggest themes you're seeing in investment consulting right now, and how might they impact the way interns or analysts will contribute to projects?
Yeah, so our internship program is more in our investment solutions business and less in our consulting business. And it's less about themes that drive things the internship will get involved in. As part of the internship program, we want our interns to really get a sense for how it is to be part of the teams they're working with, because the end outcome is a grad role, a 3-year grad role. So if you don't enjoy the 8 weeks, we want you to give you the most experience so you would like the next 3 years plus. Hopefully they go on to 11, 20 years as well. So that's kind of the structure. Things you could get involved in. So for example, the interns this year, we launched a new commodities fund, and the interns this year built a commodities dashboard to help us monitor fund performance. So tangible outcomes rather than just a project that we'll get an intern to do and won't be looked at. It's actually meaningful work that will go a long way to giving out the end outcomes that our clients need. and then hopefully as a grad you'll come back and sort of continue on that process as well. So it's really an iterative process rather than single projects.
That's great, thank you. I'm going to move on to our next question, which is about technical skills. So I think we've definitely had a mix of firms talk tonight about people needing some technical skills when they enter, and others it being a bit less important for. I'd like to reiterate to those who are interested in applying that Gain do provide you with a lot of technical skills training before you start your internship. But I guess let's think about the interview and the assessment process. Someone's not feeling so strong on their technical skills and they're not from a financial background. Are there any resources you would encourage them to look at?
I would just like to say, just from our perspective, just a bit of peace of mind that we're not always looking for students that have a financial background. As Shanti mentioned, her engineering, and actually one of our other graduates is from an engineering background. So I think the skills that you get from Gain, the knowledge, also just keeping up to date on the market for us would be just that curiosity and interest, and staying current is probably more important than getting too concerned about the technical aspects at the moment, because that's something that, depending on which team you go into, and also as part of the program, we will try our best to give you those relevant skills. So I think probably concentrate more on just being curious, staying up to date with technology, and you're just preparing for your internship. I think for me, that's probably the best advice I would give you just now, and not to get too concerned. But others may feel differently.
Thanks, Faye.
We have a very similar approach as well. It's more about interest in markets and investments rather than having a financial background. This year we had interns from environmental sciences to engineering to, we even had a chef come through as part of our internship program, and just showed interest in investments and wanting to learn more about it rather than having the technical skills, which we would obviously teach as part of the role and as part of the graduate program.
Thanks.
I would echo that. For us at Walter Scott, we would be the same. I would say having a basic working knowledge of Excel is going to help you. We do use spreadsheets. But in terms of the financial language and that sort of training and investment, similar to everyone else who's spoken, we have graduates who come in with degrees from ancient history to engineering, and that really doesn't matter. But I would say a basic Excel aptitude will help you. We will teach you, but it would be good to get a bit.
I think we have pretty much the same attitude than the other firms. Like, I mean, technical skills is something we can teach or guide you where to pick it up. It's more the passion for investment we are looking for, and yeah.
Great, thank you. I'm going to move on to, I'm so sorry, we have a minute left. Could we do a whip around? The students who are writing their applications right now, what is one thing you would like to see in their CV or application? Maybe Holger, since you're on my screen, we start with you.
One example of investment you have done so far.
Perfect.
We have a requirement. We ask a pretty simple question, I think, and just make sure that if you are applying, please do answer that question that we ask for in our details. It's not too tough, but please do. A lot of people don't.
Good advice.
I'd say write the answer yourself as well. Don't get ChatGPT to do it for you, because it does produce some very bland answers. Whereas stuff that you write as an individual usually does stand out. And we always like to hear about things people have read or situations where they've shown some kind of self-starting. Those two things are quite interesting to us.
Great, thank you.
I agree. I think it's about tailoring your application and showing your passion. The video we mentioned is just to talk about something you're passionate and how that might help you in the program. So just being able to communicate your passion and tailoring your application for us is important.
I agree with all of those things. I think one other thing I'd just add is when you are talking about investments or businesses that you've looked at, don't slip into the trap of just using investment jargon that doesn't really mean anything. Use like layman's terms and just unpick it really clearly in a way that makes sense to you, because it's way more interesting and probably much better as well.
Thanks, Alice.
I guess mine is less from a CV, more from an investment center standpoint, but something we look for is, well, a question we always ask is a current macro topic or something that's happening in the news and how that can impact markets at a very high level.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. I know there are questions in the chats we haven't quite got to. We are doing 3 more of these events tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. So feel free to tag along to those and ask your questions there. I just want to say a really big thank you to all of you who have joined this evening and all of our firms here today, ready to review your GAIN applications. We will put this video up on YouTube in a few days. You can come back, you can get a reminder of what everyone's spoken about, and revisit the Q&A. And yeah, just good luck. 26th of October, it's the deadline. And just to echo what everyone said, show us your passion, show us your curiosity, show us your initiative. We've got a few questions on the GAIN application form, and please make sure you are answering those questions. And Brooke and I are going to sit there and read every single one of them. So please don't use ChatGPT and keep it interesting for us. Thank you very much. I hope everyone has a lovely evening.